no rules. It raises this whole question.
Things got very real today, way more than I expected.
I'm still shaking.
Hello everyone, welcome to Changemakers 2021. It is so exciting to be here with you and thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you're ready for an incredible day and program ahead. Please let us know in the chat where in the world you're joining from. And while you're all doing that, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Yoon Kim. I'm an award-winning television journalist, writer, and producer, and I'll be your host throughout today's program. As we start, here's a quick overview of the day. Right now, we're all together in the opening ceremony. Throughout the day, you can expect to go back and forth between this main stage and a number of other rooms that are all available here. During the main breakout session blocks, you'll get to choose between 4 different sessions led by our amazing session presenters. There will be 3 of those throughout the day. And at the same time, we also have a number of community spaces and booths at the exhibit hall that you can check out throughout the day whenever you feel like it. I also want to pause to give a thank you to all of the sponsors that have helped make this event possible. Thanks to McDonald's, Anime Expo, JP Morgan Chase, Electronic Arts, Leadership Conference for Civil and Human Rights, Nickelodeon, Sephora, Tambourine, PayPal, Glow Recipe, and our community partners, Tractivist, The Asian Talk, Very Asian, Sunday Jump, and Baysoon Candle. Today's conference is all about supporting, connecting, and developing the next generation of AAPI youth leaders and activists. And it's the result of an incredible team of volunteers across 3 organizations: Act to Change, Hate is a Virus, and Stop AAPI Hate. To hear a little bit more about that, please join me now in welcoming Maulik Pancholy to the stage. Maulik is an actor, author, and the co-founder and chair of Act to Change. Welcome, Maulik.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Changemakers Summit 2021. My name is Maulik Pancholy, and I am a chair and co-founder here at Act to Change, where we work to end bullying in the AAPI community. This is our 3rd year hosting a youth conference in the month of October, which is National Bullying Prevention Month. As an anti-bullying organization, we believe strongly that youth are the leaders we have been waiting for. In so many ways, we have already seen this year how young people are leading the charge in all kinds of spaces. Young people have organized rallies, led marches, mobilized fundraisers, directed voting rights campaigns, established mutual aid organizations, created content to educate others, and so much more. I am so proud that we here at Act to Change are partnering with the incredible folks at Hate is a Virus and Stop AAPI Hate to host this space for all of you this year. And I'm humbled to be here with you today. Every day at Act to Change, we work to address the root causes of bullying and hate in the AAPI community. And while those roots run deep, there is also so much power in what we can accomplish together. To share more about this and our commitment to ending bullying, I am so honored to welcome our next speaker. She is an educator and a fearless advocate for safety and inclusion in our schools and in our communities. Please join me in welcoming the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden.
To the students, educators, and community leaders at this year's Changemakers Summit, you represent the best of who we are as Americans. Through your courage and vision, you are preparing our nation's next generation of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander leaders. It matters, especially as we emerge from a pandemic that has been so difficult on our country and the AA and NHPI community in particular. In addition to the loss of life, we've experienced a rise in hate and xenophobia. Too many of you have experienced the taunts, the looks, the physical and emotional distress that comes every day online, in our schools, and just walking the streets of America. Our president often says, we must not be silent. We have to speak out. We have to act. We will act. We are committed to fighting hate crimes and bullying in all its forms. We stand united against racism. We stand united for justice and equality. And we stand united in the belief that every child deserves to grow up proud of who they are. And that's why today's summit is so important as you educate, empower, and celebrate all the young people who will be true change makers for generations to come. Thank you, and I can't wait to see all the great things you will do.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jill Biden, for your remarks. We are honored to have your support as we kick off Changemakers Summit 2021. Next up, we have a series of keynote speakers for you that'll help ground us in our thinking about our own leadership, impact, and community. These speakers are all incredible changemakers in their own right, and I'm excited to hear them share their stories and encouragement with us. First up, we have Amanda Nguyen. Amanda is a social entrepreneur whose viral video earlier this year was a pivotal moment for bringing worldwide attention to the Stop Asian Hate movement. She was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize in 2019 for penning her own civil rights into existence by passing the Sexual Assault Survivors Bill of Rights. She is the CEO and founder of Rise, a social movement accelerator, and was recently featured in McDonald's AAPI Next series to launch the brand's all-new education program and talk about the importance of goal setting and self-empowerment. Please join me in welcoming Amanda Nguyen.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Nguyen and I am so excited to be with you all today. I'm a civil rights activist, the daughter of refugees, and the founder of Rise, a social change incubator that fights for the rights of sexual violence survivors. I'm here today because I believe in the power of our community, and especially in the leadership and youth of the next generation of AAPI changemakers. You know, I first learned about courage from my role model, my mom. She's a boat refugee, and as she shared, she went into death to seek life. Her audacity to hope in the face of fear gives me hope. And to me, courage is not the lack of fear, but having it and walking through it anyways. And so when it came time to stand up for what I believed in, well, I thought if she could go through all of that and be so brave to come and be able to make it to a place where we can practice, exercise our freedoms, then it's my responsibility to. I drew my courage from her. After all, we are the dreams of our ancestors, and all of their strength, their courage, runs through our veins. And when I think about the world and these past few years that we've weathered together, I think it's important to understand how deeply systemic the challenges we face today are. There is no injustice that only affects one person or even one community, and we have to think broadly, creatively, and build communities across lines of difference. Movement building has been critical to my work and my team at Rise, and how we have built collective power to literally write civil rights into existence. I want to share a story of vulnerability. When I was fighting for my own civil rights, the Sexual Assault Survivor Bill of Rights in Massachusetts, I was in DC at the time. I was about to board a plane, and I was at the airport. I was about to board the plane onto a flight to Boston because I was fighting for my rights. It was the night before the legislative session would close which essentially means that the bill had to pass in the next 24 hours or it would die. It would have to start the process all over again. And I got a call from a policy advisor who said, I'm so sorry, but the bill that you're working on, they're not going to bring it up for a vote. It's going to die. And I went and I just felt so lost. Well, what was the point of even showing up? What was the point in grassroots organizing anymore? I already got this news. It's over. And when I talked to survivors and their family members at that airport, they said, Amanda, get on that plane and show up. Stand outside of the floor, and as each representative walks out of the House floor, let them have to pass your face. Let them have to confront the fact that they did not vote on survivor rights. I was the last person on that plane, and when I showed up the next day, even our lead sponsors said, oh, we're so sorry. But for 14 hours, we spent knocking on every single representative's door. We asked people to call in, and I witnessed those phones ring off the hook. We asked people from different communities to call in, and people showed up. And at the end of those 14 hours, the speaker relented and brought it up for a vote, and it passed unanimously. The moral of the story here is that it's not over until it's over, but also that our voices really do matter. And when we fight for it, just know that our mere existence, the fact that we are demanding something, envisioning that there is a more perfect union, that in itself is power. The first time that I actually spoke about my story and shared it, it was 6 hours of me telling politicians who just did not care. And it was the first time I talked about, my sexual assault. And here I am, this AAPI woman walking these hallowed hallways. And I remember some politicians said, oh, I sympathize with what happened to you, but this isn't going to help me win my reelection. And I thought, wow, that is so honest, but also really brutal. Like, maybe don't be that honest. And I went home and I cried. It was really tough. I just remember thinking, oh my God, I just need someone to tell me that I love you. And as a pathological optimist, I woke up the next day and I went back to the US Senate. And this time I was in an Uber ride. I met a man, the driver. It was kind of intimidating. Didn't really talk to me. But at the end of the ride, he saw that I was going to the Senate. He asked me why. And I told him. And this once intimidating man just started crying, just tears flowing from his eyes. And he turned to me and he said, my daughter was also raped. And when he stopped the car, he said, can I shake your hand? Thank you so much for fighting for her. Has anyone told you that they love you today? I love you. And I'll never forget that, Dad. This story is our story. It's a collective story of progress. There's a long tradition of people taking their painful living truths and channeling that into justice. And I joined that tradition by penning my own civil rights into existence. We can all join that tradition by just deciding that our voices really do matter, that our stories matter, and that what we do absolutely defines what happens to us, to our community, and for our future. We have agency. So for everyone that has joined today, but especially the young leaders in the audience, my one advice and hope for you is that the most powerful tool we have is our voice. So use it, sing it, write it. Peace is not the absence of visible conflict. In order for there to be true peace, we must all feel it inside of us. You know when there is turmoil inside of us. You know when there is something that must be resolved, something that we must stand up for and speak up about. I want to leave you with this, that no one is powerless when we come together, and no one is invisible when we demand to be seen. You are all uniquely qualified and powerful in so many ways, and I am so excited to hear your stories, to see your impact, and to celebrate you in everything that you are. Thank you so much for having me at Changemakers Summit 2021.
Amazing! Thank you so much, Amanda, for your inspiring words of wisdom. I know there are so many young people here and everywhere who look up to you, and we're so grateful to you for sharing your time with us. Moving along, I'm so excited to introduce our second speaker. Versha Sharma is the editor-in-chief at Teen Vogue. Previously, she was managing editor and senior correspondent at Now This News, and she is on the board of directors at the Online News Association. Versha was also featured in the McDonald's AAPI Next series to talk about how important it is for students to pursue their passions and develop their voices outside of the classroom. She is a tireless advocate for young people and young leaders. Please join me in welcoming Versha.
Hi everyone, my name is Versha Sharma and I am the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. As editor-in-chief, I get to see how incredibly brilliant young people are every single day and how quickly they're pushing leaders and adults in our communities for a deeper commitment to justice and equality. As a way to ground this incredible conference ahead of you, I want to share my own journey and a few stories of how I got to where I am today. I'm here today to share a few stories about my own work as a way to ground the incredible conference that's ahead of you all, and I'm going to start by sharing my journey to how I got here. I am an Indian American born and raised in central Louisiana. I am the daughter of immigrants, and I grew up in a fairly small town, often feeling like I did not belong. I was able to figure out who I am with the help of family, friends, music, pop culture, movies, books, school academics, and extracurricular activities. It was trying different extracurricular activities that really helped me build confidence and find who I am. I tried piano and guitar lessons, I played tennis, I wrote, I swam. I started a magazine with my friends in middle school because we thought it would be a fun thing to do. I didn't stick with all of these activities throughout all of school or high school or even college, but they did help me narrow down my interests and understand both what I'm good at and what I really enjoy doing. Tennis, speech and debate, and writing and editing are the ones that did stick. I ended up joining my college newspaper staff my freshman year, and I actually became editor-in-chief of the college newspaper for my junior and senior years. Working at a college newspaper was really a part-time job for me outside of classes, and it helped me learn many lessons, including organization, scheduling, publishing, production, meeting deadlines, and of course, managing a team of people, which was probably the most important part outside of the actual editorial mission and values of the newspaper. Of course, working at the newspaper also taught me the most important principles of journalism and the value of a free press. I learned a lot about organization, managing a team of people, meeting deadlines, and of course, the most important principles of journalism, namely accuracy and transparency. It was a real part-time job outside of my classes, and it really prepared me for professional experiences after college. My Indian American identity was and is also very important to me. Like a lot of AAPI parents and immigrants, my parents really raised me to understand the value of discipline and a strong work ethic. And like a lot of immigrant children, I sometimes disagreed with them about what my priorities should be, especially outside of the classroom. I'm very grateful to them for the values and lessons that they raised me with. We didn't always see eye to eye, but I learned that it's possible to be honest with them about how you're feeling and also disagree respectfully. If you're lucky enough to have adults in your life who are looking out for you, please use them for support and know that you can also be honest with them. To everyone who's watching today, I also want us to take a moment to pause and reflect on how important it is that we're able to come together for this. We've been through a lot as a community. We've been scapegoated and blamed for the pandemic, attacked in our communities, bullied in our schools, made to feel unsafe. We've had to speak truth to power in an age of alternative facts, definitely not a thing. And we've done it all amidst a global pandemic. But if there's one thing that I've learned throughout this, it's that we're able to get through it together. It is the importance of real community and solidarity. We are able to get through these difficult times by coming together, supporting each other, sharing what stresses us out or scares us, being honest with each other about how we feel. The first step to solving any of these problems is honesty. So I really hope you take that to heart. And I also know that young people today are better than any generation before them at being open, honest, vulnerable, and authentic. I grew up as part of the 9/11 generation, and as a brown person in the Deep South, I was targeted. On the day that the terrorist attack happened, a schoolmate yelled at me to go back to Afghanistan. My first reaction was, that's not even accurate. First, I was born here, and second of all, my family's not from Afghanistan, they're from India. But so many people in my community and in communities around the world suffered real discrimination and harassment, sometimes even were the victim of brutal hate crimes. A lot of it is very similar to what we've seen today with the pandemic. What gives me hope is that people our age who grew up with bullying and discrimination understood that systems need to change, and we're now in positions of leadership to actually push for that change. It all starts with speaking up. Young people were at the forefront of the racial justice protests that we saw around the world in the wake of George Floyd's death. It was 17-year-old Darnella Frazier who pulled out her cell phone in that moment to capture that tragic injustice that happens far too often and almost every day. Young people understand more than anyone that it's possible and important to care about the climate, about politics, about social justice, about pop culture, fashion, and beauty, and that you can care about all of these things at once. Young people also understand how racial and social justice and equity affects every single one of these areas. Young people understand the connections between all of these interlocking systems of injustice, and it's young people everywhere who are stepping up to name, dismantle, and replace these systems with something better. Teen Vogue has always been about finding your voice. I think the publication has done a phenomenal job over the years of finding, centering, and elevating truly diverse voices and faces, whether it's putting them on the cover or hiring them as staff and hiring them to write the stories. In the last 5 years especially, Teen Vogue has really found and reestablished its voice as that of a rising generation that is unapologetic and unafraid. I truly do believe that young people are changing the world, and I take inspiration every single day from that. We were born in a time of several overlapping crises, and yet we have the power and the energy to imagine better and to push our leaders to work harder, to do better. That's the kind of work that inspires me, and that's the kind of work that brought me to Teen Vogue. I think Teen Vogue has succeeded and survived where many other teen magazines have not because of its focus on the issues that matter. So what does this all mean for us and you right now? There's going to be so much to learn and experience throughout this conference, but my hope is that each and every one of you move forward with one thought in mind. It comes from former World Bank President Jim Yong Kim, who once said that he believes optimism is a moral choice. It is a choice you make, and often a difficult one, to choose to be optimistic in the face of adversity. It's also easier when we all make that choice together. Please know that as young leaders, you will walk away from today's conference as part of a community that is always here for you. I am here for you. We're all making a difference. The work that we do matters, and we are building a world that has never existed before. If that's not exciting, I don't know what is. Thank you so much for having me at Changemakers Summit 2021.
That was fabulous. Thank you so much for your kind and wise words, Versha. We're so inspired to have leaders like you making an impact every day in your work to uplift our youth. Moving on to our final keynote speaker, I'm excited to welcome Rachel Leyco to the stage. Rachel is an award-winning filmmaker, writer, actress, and activist. She won a Student Emmy at the 2013 College Television Awards as writer, director, producer in the pilot web series, The Sub Club. As an actress, she can be seen in a number of commercials, web series, short films, and indie features. Rachel is also an activist for a number of social justice causes, most notably LGBTQIA+ equality and mental health. Please join me in welcoming Rachel.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Leyco, and I'm a Filipino-American filmmaker, writer, actress, and activist. Across all these spaces and in the work that I do, I believe in the magic of storytelling, and I am proud to be an advocate for LGBTQ plus equality and mental health. And I also want to wish everyone a happy Filipino-American History Month. The workshops, panels, and community spaces throughout this conference are designed to inspire, empower, celebrate, and activate the beauty and power across our diverse communities. I want to welcome and encourage all of you to use today as an opportunity to reflect on your story and your journey. Where have you been and where do you want to go? How can your story be a gateway to change, not just for you, but for others in our community who need that space and that representation? You know, I started out trying to navigate the entertainment industry alone. I didn't have any personal connections or really the knowledge in breaking through in Hollywood. But the brave resilience of the Filipino women in my life, like my mom and my Lola, instilled strength within me that continues to empower my journey today, both personally and professionally. There's a saying in Tagalog, "Kaya ko to." I can do this. If I can, you can too. The stories we see and hear today are the foundation for the future we're building every day. As a creative that works specifically to uplift marginalized and underrepresented voices, I know firsthand how difficult it can be to break through. But when we do break through, it has a ripple effect on so many other people beyond us and our own success. That builds power in the moment and for the movement. Through the films and shows that I create, I make it my mission to be as inclusive as possible in front and behind the camera. Every project that I lead always includes queer, female, and BIPOC artists in every department. Growing up, I never really saw many brown Asian faces on screen. And I actually really hated my tan brown skin. I just wanted to look white and be white because that's what I saw in the media. But then when I started to see more brown Asian actors and musicians and creatives all around just being proud of who they are and their heritage, it made me proud. It changed me from the inside out. It inspired me and empowered me, and that is the power of representation. And now I am so proud to be brown and beautiful. Representation matters on a global scale. The power of inclusivity in storytelling is so powerful. It instills empathy, it inspires creativity, and empowers the next generation of artists. And there's been some progress. More female writers and directors of color, more BIPOC leading actors, more queer, non-binary, and trans stories in the media. But there's still a long way to go. The more that we own our voices and step into our power, the more we can shape the stories that we see. Bringing this all together, I hope that my story and experiences can inspire and guide you as you move through the rest of this conference. There's already so much potential in this room. And if I could leave you with one final thought, it would be this. Your story is power. Own it. Use it for good. Kaya mo yan. You can do this. We deserve a seat at the table. And when the table wasn't built for us, not only are we building our own, but we are bringing our entire community along with us. Community over competition. Thank you so much for having me at Changemakers Summit 2021.
Sick. Thank you so much, Rachel, for your wonderful words. So many feels after this. Thank you, thank you. All right, folks, we have a special gift for you all to help us close out our opening ceremony here. Please join me in welcoming a spoken word performance by Jireh Deng. Jireh uses she/they pronouns and is a queer Asian American poet and journalist born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley. Their work appears in the Asian American Writers Workshop, the podcast VS, LA Taco, the Human Rights Campaign, and more. In summer 2021, they interned at the LA Times and is currently interning at NPR. Welcome, Jireh.
This body is not a virus. after Fatima Ashgar. I'm dreaming of new futures where I claim the women who work the massage parlors, the fathers and mothers who leave behind continents, then pass down languages to their children. I'm blessing us gays, theys, and bays who kiss in open streets or shuddered behind closed doors. I'm thanking my fight over the check aunties and uncles who drop off secondhand clothes and homegrown fruit. I call my people borderless when friends fly away and green cards fail to grow on trees. I'm here for the tragedy when another life is taken and when no metaphors can cup the loss. I pray for words to hold us all. I pray that words will never be enough. My mouth has been the exit wound of my family tree. I'm asking you to make it your altar, an offering of love and laughter to tide us through the storm and calm. The revolution in our hearts demands our pause. Stop dredging up those kingdoms and let your joy do the work.
Thank you so much to Jireh for giving us all the energy as we come to the close of our opening ceremonies. What a fantastic way to cap all the powerful speeches we've heard from our keynote speakers. And now, folks, we're about to transition into block 1 of our conference. At this time, everyone can leave this main stage and use the Feed Loop platform to find the breakout session or community room you want to be in. All of these are listed under the menu sessions. We also encourage you to check out the expo under the section called Exhibit Hall. And if you need any help at all during the day, come find our staff at the Changemakers information booth in the Exhibit Hall. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and one of our Changemakers Summit 2021 staff will be available to help you get to where you need to be. Have a great first session, and we'll see you back here soon.